Hello, future volunteer. We're so happy you are here, and we're excited to tell you about the volunteer opportunities with Richmond Aging and Engaging. This video will provide helpful information about who we are, including our mission, what we do, why we do it, and the different programs you can volunteer for. There's a lot to cover, so let's get started. Richmond Aging and Engaging is a nonprofit 501c3 organization operating in Richmond, Virginia. Our mission is to support the health, wellness, and quality of life of older adults aging in place in low-income housing. Through intergenerational art, leisure, and recreational programming, we ensure access to meaningful activities that foster a sense of purpose, build social connections, and empower older adults to live their best life. Richmond Aging and Engaging works to fulfill its mission by running two programs, our Rollator repair program and our art, leisure, and recreation program. In our Rollator repair program, we train volunteers like you in basic rollator repairs and maintenance. We then run free community rollator repair pop-up clinics. Our art, leisure, and recreation program is an intergenerational program where we bring young adults and college student volunteers to work with our older adults in activities that support their physical, cognitive, and social health. Richmond Aging and Engaging operates a little bit differently than most organizations. You're probably accustomed to seeing older adults going to another location for their programming, for example, a senior center or a community center. At Richmond Aging and Engaging, we flip this model, and instead of the older adults coming to us, we bring our activities and services to the older adults in the apartment buildings where they live. Who does Richmond Aging and Engaging serve? We provide our programmings to low-income, independent living older adults. And let's take a minute to break down what we mean. Independent living means that these are individuals that are living in an apartment building by themselves. They may have aides or assistants that help throughout the day, but they are not living in an assisted living facility or nursing home. Our participants live in low-income apartment buildings. In order to qualify to live in these buildings, they have to meet certain income requirements. In 2024, HUD defined very low income as having less than $38,000 a year. In reality, most of our participants make substantially less than that every year. Our participants pay about 30% of their income for rent, and the rest is subsidized by the government. Many of our participants are on Medicaid, which is the state health insurance program for low-income individuals. Our participants are at high risk for health disparities. Many of them have chronic diseases like diabetes, COPD, high blood pressure. Food insecurity and limited regular access to healthy food is a reality for many of the folks that you'll meet. And finally, older adults. The buildings where we currently run our programs are designated as senior apartment buildings. This means that residents are all age 62 and over or have a disability. A number of our program participants are younger than 62, and they qualify to live in the buildings because of their disability status. So in sum, we serve low-income, independent living older adults. So you've heard a little bit about who we are, what we do, and who we serve. Now let's talk a little bit about why we do what we do. You may have been hearing things in the news, especially since COVID, about the detrimental impact of loneliness and social isolation. For instance, that social isolation is associated with a 50% increased risk in dementia, or that lacking social connection is as dangerous to our health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. And you probably also are aware of the health benefits of physical activity. Physical activity helps lower risk of heart disease and stroke and diabetes. It can improve our strength and balance, which is really important for older adults as it prevents falls. It can improve our mood, and physical activity is even important for our cognition. So Richmond Aging and Engaging supports aging in place by offering older adults living in low-income housing opportunities to engage in meaningful activities. These activities can help to provide a sense of purpose. It can provide social connection, offer opportunities for cognitive stimulation, and physical activity. By engaging in these activities, older adults can help maintain their functional independence. It can improve their mood and well-being, and it can improve health outcomes. So ultimately, the goal is that they will be able to stay healthy and stay independent and age in place. Our volunteers are the heart and soul of our programming. As a Richmond Aging and Engaging volunteer, you'll do far more than just lend a helping hand. You'll create meaningful social connections and foster a sense of community in the buildings that we serve. Our volunteers truly make a difference in the lives of those that we serve, contributing to their happiness, well-being, and overall health. Next up is an overview of the different volunteer opportunities that we have. Let's start with the basic requirements for our volunteers. At this time, all Richmond Aging and Engaging volunteers must be age 18 or over. Volunteers must complete an application and sign a liability waiver, and there's also a general orientation and training for our policies that all volunteers must complete, and that's all done online at this time. Some of our programs have specific additional training requirements, which you'll hear about when we talk about those programs. Note that our programming is intergenerational in nature, and that means that most of our volunteers are young adult, college, graduate student volunteers, particularly for our community-based programs like the Art, Leisure, and Recreation program. Now, this doesn't mean that we won't take older adults as volunteers, and particularly as administrative volunteers, but just be aware that most of our volunteers that are going out into the community are college student, young adult, graduate student age. Let's start with our Rollator repair program. Rollators are four-wheeled walkers that are used by many people for safe mobility in the community. As a Rollator repair volunteer, you'll learn how to complete basic Rollator repairs, and then you'll participate in pop-up clinics in the community where you'll put your skills to use fixing folks' rollators. And there's no experience required for this because we'll train you in what you need to do. There are two parts to the Rollator repair training. There's an hour online training, and then there's an in-person training which usually takes 1 to 2 hours. Once you've completed the training, you're eligible to participate in the pop-up clinics. Each clinic is typically about 2 hours. They are scheduled throughout the year, depending on the need in the community, and we ask our volunteers to commit to attending at least 3 clinics a year. It is important to note that most of our pop-up clinics are held Monday through Friday during typical working hours. We occasionally have some scheduled on the weekends, but it is not common. In our Leisure and Recreation program, we offer a variety of different activities that support social, physical, and cognitive health of our older adult participants. The activities that we offer vary by site. We use participant advisory committees to help determine the activities and the schedule. So this means that at each of our sites, the programs are going to look a little bit different. Activities can vary from arts and crafts to board games to cards to physical games like balloon pickleball or cornhole, or even doing a group walk to the library. As a volunteer in the Leisure and Recreation program, you'll assist participants with the activities that they're doing. You may participate with them, engage in the activities, play cards, play the board games with them. Sometimes you're just simply going to socialize with them, chat with them, get to know them. Our Leisure and Recreation program runs weekly throughout the year at each site. The session times vary depending on the site, but typically run from 90 minutes to 2 hours. We ask our volunteers to commit to coming at least twice a month during the academic semester. It's important to note that our programming is on Monday through Friday during standard working hours, 9 to 5. We don't offer the Leisure and Recreation program on evenings or weekends. Opening Minds Through Art, or OMA, is a specific program that we run as part of our leisure and recreation program. Opening Minds Through Art is an evidence-based intergenerational art program centered on relationship building. As an OMA volunteer, you'll be paired with an older adult for 8 weeks, and you'll guide them through the art making process. Now, there is no art experience required. We will train you on the OMA process and how to facilitate and work with your older adult partner. To volunteer with OMA, you will be required to complete a 2-hour in-person training. OMA program runs for 8 weeks at a time, plus an art show. Each weekly session is for 2 hours. Volunteers are expected to attend the entire 8-week session. Be advised that our OMA program runs on weekdays, Monday through Friday, standard business hours 9 to 5. If you're interested in working behind the scenes with Richmond Aging and Engaging, we're always on the lookout for individuals with administrative skills, bookkeeping skills, fundraising skills who are interested in supporting us, so please get in touch. So hopefully we've inspired you to want to volunteer with Richmond Aging and Engaging. The final part of this presentation, we're going to go over the volunteer application process. Richmond Aging and Engaging uses an online volunteer portal called My Impact Page. From this page, you will be able to click on the link to submit an application. This is the first step in the process to becoming a volunteer. Once your application is submitted, you'll receive an email to schedule an interview if an interview is required. Once your interview is completed, if you've been accepted as a volunteer, you'll be directed to our online training module, which is part of the My Impact page, to complete your required volunteer orientation and policy training. If you're interested in a program that requires additional training, such as the Rollator Repair Program or OMA, you'll be able to schedule your in-person training through the My Impact page. Once you've completed all your trainings and you've signed all your paperwork, then you are ready to schedule your shifts on your My Impact page. Once you've registered with us, you'll receive more information on how to use My Impact and how to schedule your assignments. So make a difference in your community. Join us in supporting Richmond's older adults. Register to volunteer with us today. You won't regret it, you'll have fun, and you're going to make a big difference in people's lives.